There is a kind of silence that isn't empty. It's the kind that happens right before something big, before thunder, before announcement that changes everything. Looks back at its own past and it says out loud for the whole world to hear, we were wrong to forget this. For years, fans of classic games lived in that silence, not the silence of peace, but of waiting. That uncomfortable feeling of knowing there were buried gold, games that defined generations, stories that deserve to continue, worlds that deserve to come back, and seeing no sign that anyone was going to dig. For years, fans of classic games lived in that silence, not the silence of peace, but of waiting, that uncomfortable feeling of knowing there was boring gold, games that defined generations, stories that deserve to continue, worlds that deserve to come back, and since no sign that anyone was going to dig. Then Capcom made the Resident Evil 2 remake, then Resident Evil 3, then Resident Evil 4, each one more ambitious than the last, proving there was a market, an audience, passion on the other right side of the screen. And now, Capcom has confirmed that Resident Evil Code Veronica Remake. Now, what that means? It means the silence is over. Code Veronica isn't just another empty in the franchise. For anyone who lived through the Dreamcast, the PlayStation 2, the years where Capcom ruled survival horror, this game was a promise of continuity, a promise that Claire and Chris Redfield's story had more chapters ahead, a story with Umbrella at the height of its power, a secret island, experiments that went further than anything shown before. But time had passed, the market changed, and Code Veronica got left behind. Not because it was bad, but because the game industry is cruel to whoever doesn't sell enough at the right moment. Now, Capcom has decided that moment has arrived, and the questions nobody can stop asking. It's simple, directed, and absolutely unsettling. If they want back to Code Veronica, what else is the pipeline? Picture narrow corridors, frequent light, a hole that comes from nowhere that suddenly is everywhere. You've got a gun, limited ammo, and a map that he reads like a death sentence with numbered rooms. That was Dino Crisis, released in 1999. It pulled off something that seemed impossible. It took the survival horror formula Capcom itself invented that Resident Evil they swapped the undead for perfect predators, dinosaurs, not the cartoon kind, the nightmare kind. Fast, intelligent, relentless. Regina, the protagonist, became an icon. Before the world even know what gaming icon was. The game sold millions, so did the sequel, and then nothing. Silence. As if Capcom was buried one of the greatest treasures alive. Dino Crisis 3 came out 2003, and let's be honest, it sank the franchise, but not the idea found. It's an execution problem. The core idea, the essence of Dino Crisis is brilliant, and with the graphic engines Capcom uses today, the same one that made Resident Evil 2 Remake look like a movie. Imagine Regina fleeing a T-Rex in modern visuals. Is almost painfully good to think about. The question isn't whether Dino Crisis deserves a remake. The question is, why hasn't it happened yet? It may be, just maybe, Code Veronica is the answer. Whatever we're waiting for. There is a game that taught an entire generation that what is style means. Not style is a fashion. Style is a philosophy. The idea that a game can be technically brutal and gorgeous at the same time, that a character can be absurdly powerful and still look like he is having more fun than you are. That violence can have choreography, that combat can have a soul. That game was Devil May Cry. The first one released in 2001 was literally born from a mistake. It started as a prototype for Resident Evil 4 that turned out completely different from what was planned, and instead of scrapping it, Capcom released it that created something new, something unpredicted. Dante, the right-haired, red-coated giant sword, while Demon Hunter became legendary before the credits even rolled. The next two entries, Devil May Cry 2 and Devil May Cry 3, completed a trilogy that is still debated, studied, revered today. The second was admittedly disappointed. The third was a masterpiece, still considered one of the greatest action games ever made. With today's technology, with Resident Evil Village level graphics, with the art direction Capcom mastered like no one else, remastered of a full rebuild trilogy would be an event, not released. An event, and the signs are out there, waiting for anyone willing to see them. Capcom knows the value of what it has, always has. What changed is the courage to use it. If you are enjoying the video, drop a super like, subscribe to the channel to keep it going. Some games fail because they are bad, other fails because they arrive too early. God Hand is the second kind, released in 2006 and directed by Shinji Mikami, the creator of Resident Evil and one of the greatest minds in gaming history. God Hand was misunderstood in an almost tragic way. Critics at the time had no idea what to make of it. It was weird, over the top, deliberately hard to down, to very camera work, packed with no sense of humor and combat that punished any slip up. The scores were now, sales were weak, and Clover Studio, the team behind it, was shut down soon after. But time did what it always does with misunderstood work. It revealed truth. God Hand is now a cult classic, one of the most unique combat experiences ever created. A game that blends skill customization with pinpoint difficulty and absurd humor in a way no other titles has managed to replicate. Anyone who played it never forgot it. Anyone who tried and gave up knew they were facing something special, something that demanded more than they were willing to give. With a proper remake or remaster, modernized combat system, and the stylized brutality players expect from action titles today, God Hand could be the most surprising game of the next generation. All it needs is a second chance, and it, with Code Veronica proves anything, it's that Capcom has finally understood that giving second chances is exactly the kind of business it should be in. Let's be honest for a moment. Hope without logic is just a dream, and a dream, no matter how beautiful, pay the bills or convenience, a company executive. So why, this time, does the hope actually hold up? The numbers. The Resident Evil remake was not just critical darling, they are sales phenomenal. The Resident Evil 2 remake sold over 30 million copies. The Resident Evil 4 remake hit on 7 million in under a year. Those are numbers any company in the world look and thinks, we want to do that again. Second, the strategy. Capcom isn't make remakes out of nostalgia, it's make them out of strategy. Each remake acts as an entry point for the new players who never experienced the originals. An 80-year-old who plays the Code Veronica remake is going to want to understand the whole franchise. They will seek out of the other games. They will buy DLC. They will be a fan for the years. That's the priceless value. Third, the pressure. With social media, fans have never had more power to show what they want. Every post, every video, every comment about Dino Crisis or God Hand is that a company like Capcom tracks algorithms, measure interest. Market research captures nostalgia. When the numbers line up with the nostalgia, the result is announcement. Code Veronica got announced. The numbers line up. Nostalgia is our all-time high. Connect the dots. Then don't break. It's not on drop that does it. It's years of accumulated. Once it breaks, everything flows at once. That's exactly what's happening with remakes. It's not an isolated Capcom phenomenon, it's an industry-wide trend, accelerated by a generation of developers who grow up playing the classics of the 19th and 2000s and are now running the studios. Today producers are yesterday's fans, and they know what these games meant. Not historical data, but emotional memory. That's the factor that changes everything. When the people make the decisions, already loved the product before, they even worked on it, visited it, it's stopping being purely financial and become personal too. It's the difference between an executive greenlighting a project and a creator protecting a vision. And the domino effect is already in motion. Each successful remake pushes the next one forward. Each sales success frees up budgets for more projects. Each new fan one overexpands the potential market for whatever comes next. The question isn't will they do it anymore. The question is in what order. There is a real risk in all of this. Nostalgia is a powerful It seduces, but it doesn't sustain. A remake that lived and lives only on fond memory, that bets on fans loved for the original without delivering anything new, anything that justifies its excellences. In 2026, that remake will disappoint, and Capcom knows it. The Resident Evil remakes weren't just prettier versions of the originals, they were reinterpretations. The Resident Evil 2 remake changed the camera, reflow, the passing, added Meta X as a constant talking threat, and came out better than original in some ways, in nearly every way. Resident Evil 4 remake did the same, kept the soul, modernized the body. That's the level of care. A Dino Crisis remake needs, a God Remake needs, a new version of the Devil May Cry trilogy needs. It's not enough to take the original and slap on a fresh coat of paint. You have to understand why the game worked, what made the experience unique, and then ask, how do we translate that for today players without betrayal, the player who loved it back then? It's a tough equation. It's a tough question, but Capcom has already solved it 3 times a row. There is no reason to believe they are going to stop now. Back to where we started, Capcom opened a door. The Resident Evil remake, Resident Evil 2 remake, was the first step. Resident Evil 3, the second. Resident Evil 4, the third. And Code Veronica, which spent 24 years waiting in the shadows. A game everyone loved, but nobody bet on. Code Veronica is going to be the fourth. Every step proves that the remake logic isn't a briefing, it's a vision, it's the understanding. That company classic catalog isn't a dead archive, it's a living asset capable of generating value, audience, and passion for decades. Dino Crisis is waiting, Devil May Cry is waiting, God Hand is waiting, and with every remake announced, the wait gets shorter and the hope gets stronger. If you are watching this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There is a game living in your head, that one title you wanted back, that you are recommending to everyone, the one that stayed in your memory, not as graphic or mechanic, but as a feeling. That feeling never died. The door is open, and what comes through it next could be exactly what you have been waiting for. Now, it's your turn. Which remake do you want to see happen most? Dino Crisis, Devil May Cry, or God Hand? Drop it a comment and let me know. Every opinion counts and helps the channel figure out what you want to see. If this video hit come from you, drop the super like, it's the fuel that keeps the channel alive. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now. Content like this drop every week. Don't miss out. Until next time, see ya.